Well, that was ugly. I would say downright embarrassing. West Virginia goes into Lawrence, Kansas, and I did not expect them to win the game. I picked them to lose 23 or 34-23. But in no way, shape, or form did I think they would come out here and get beat the way they got beat, 41-10. Absolute embarrassment. And there are a lot of reasons for it that we can talk about. And I think all are valid. All complaints are valid. Special teams was terrible, allowing a kickoff return and several other large returns. When can we get a kicker at West Virginia that kicks the ball into the end zone, first off? Offense, once again, just like Ohio, was atrocious. I kind of said, when I did my post-game show for Pitt, or maybe it was one of the other shows, I said, that game was exciting. It was fun, but we cannot expect that game, base our expectations off of that one game. It's a rivalry game. They always turn out different somehow. And it's not necessarily the true indicator of what your team is. Okay. I think we all realize that. But I thought West Virginia would come out in this game and at least be competitive. And look, it was still, what was it? 17-3, 20-3 at halftime. It was still a ball game at halftime, right? They were still at least in it at halftime. But to get absolutely blown out of the water in the second half like they did, I mean, just absolute, I don't even know what to call it. Man, I don't know. I'd hate to be in that locker room. That's all I can tell you. There was there was some bad luck in this game. Ball bounced right up into Kansas's hands 2 or 3 different times on fumbles. West Virginia again, without Ty Edwards in the game, he was injured. Landon Livingston gets injured. Looks like what might be a bad injury. To add on to the fact you've lost 2 of your top receivers, your 2 top running backs, and now you've lost your starting center. The bad news, the hits just keep coming for West Virginia. So, that plays a role in it. But at the end of the day, they weren't going to win this without Ty Edwards. I mean, even before Livingston got hurt, they were getting beat up front. They were getting beat pretty much everywhere on the football field. Quarterback play wasn't good with Nico, unfortunately. Offensive line was terrible again, especially, I don't want to call individuals out, but there were a couple guys on the other line that just got beat many, many, many times. I mean, somebody missed some assignments because guys were just running free at the quarterback. That can't happen. They didn't even attempt to throw the ball down the field much in the first half for whatever reason, or really in the whole game. And when they did, there were miscommunications between the receivers and the quarterback. Civil Mark WV with the super chat says, "How do I go about getting my $20 super chat back for the Pitt trip?" Just kidding. Thank you, man. Oh, gosh. Thank you for that. I needed a laugh. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some stats real quick. Let me do a screen share here real quick, and we can cry together, y'all. Let me bring up these stats. First, let's look at the team stats. All right, there we go. All right. 18-19 in first downs. I can't believe Kansas only had 19 first downs. That's surprising. Third down efficiency, 3 of 15 for West Virginia, 5 of 14 for Kansas. One of my keys of the game was who will win on third down. Kansas, even though Kansas wasn't great on third down, they did better than West Virginia, 5 of 14, and they were also 1 of 2 on fourth down, whereas West Virginia was 0 of 2. Total yards, 387 to 323. Passing, 146 to 142. Man, these stats are not that Completions per attempt or completion 17 of 31 for West Virginia, 13 of 26 for Kansas. Yards per pass 4.6 to 5.6. Obviously, Nico had the one pick that ended up getting returned for a touchdown. Right here's a big difference. Rushing 181 for West Virginia, 241 for Kansas. But the thing is, almost all of that 181 came late in the game when West Virginia was trying different quarterbacks, which we'll talk about in a minute. But West Virginia, you can't give up 241 yards on the ground. And listen, I know the defense played well in the first half, but there is no debate that defense did not play good in the second half. We can talk about how they were on the field too long, which is true. We can talk about how the offense put them in a lot of bad spots, which is true. But they did not hold up. They did not hold up. They didn't tackle. They missed a lot of tackles again. I'll be anxious to see the PFF grades on that. They got made absolute silly on a few run plays. They had some busted coverages. Somehow or another, Jamoy Robinson ended up in pass coverage on the running back. Still can't figure out how that happened. But yeah, it was ugly all the way around. Daniel Gigax with a super chat says, at least Utah stunk today too. Yeah. I don't know if that makes me feel any better, Daniel, but I appreciate the attempt, brother. I really do. Thank you for the support. But yeah, West Virginia, most of West Virginia's rushing yards came in garbage time, essentially. Penalties, 5 of 30 and 4 for 40, so that wasn't really a difference maker. Other than West Virginia, they had two false starts. We obviously had the horrible penalty by Fred Perry, which was a penalty. You can't do that. He deserved to be kicked out of the game. And I think that had an effect. The defense seemed to lose their mojo after that a little bit. Fred Perry's kind of the I don't know. I don't want to call him the glue, but he's kind of the main cog, I think, of that defense to a degree with the energy he plays with. And it seemed like when he went out of the game, they lost that to a degree. So, but you can't have that. You can't hit the quarterback you can't hit the quarterback in the head when he's sliding, and you can't throw yourself at him like a missile. Obviously, West Virginia with the 2 turnovers, the fumble loss and the interception, and time of possession was 26 to 10 to 33-50. And again, it was because of all the 3 and outs. 3 and out after 3 and out in the first half. What was it, 6 in a row, 3 and outs? You can't have that in games, especially in the Big 12. Vegas must have known. I don't know if Vegas knew about Ty Edwards' injury. Vegas knew something because they said from the get-go West Virginia was a huge underdog in this game, and boy, did they sure play like it. Let's look at some individual stats real quick. This is where it gets really, really interesting, by the way. I glanced at these real quick before I come on here. Nico Markiel, 15 of 27 passing, 126 yards, and a pick. No touchdowns. Jalen Daniels was only 12 of 24 for 138, but he had 3 touchdowns. But Jalen Daniels also ran the ball 5 times for 69 yards. So he was very efficient in the run game. And then Jalen Henderson came in, second half was 2 of 4 for 16 yards passing, but he was West Virginia's leading rusher on the day. 7 carries, 79 yards, and the 1 touchdown. Second leading rusher, Khalil Wilkins, who only played a handful of snaps in the game, or 2 drives in the game, 5 carries, 36 yards with a long of 20. Tyler Jackledge was your leading rusher from the running back spot, 6 carries, 27 yards. And then Dior Hubbard was second, next, 3 carries for 16 yards. Your starting running back, Clay Ash, only had 7 carries, but for only 12 yards. They tried to get Oren Singleton the ball a few times. He rushed it twice for 10 yards and also had a few receptions. A couple receptions for 6 yards, but leading receiver was Sincere Bowers, had the 1 catch for 23 yards. The play of the day, really, for West Virginia, outside of Jalen Daniels or Jalen Henderson's long run, that was the play of the game for him. Guy went and got you a first down, and then I never saw him again, hardly. What happened? Jeffrey Weimer had the 2 catches for 23 yards until he took that ferocious hit going up to try to catch when Nico hung him out to dry, and he went up to try to catch the ball. Nico was not hitting his passes tonight, y'all. Now, he was getting beat up in some back there, but when he had time to throw the ball, he was not accurate with it tonight. I don't know what it is. Nico plays good every other game, basically. And he seems to struggle on the road with the exception of the game last year in Arizona where most of his family was in attendance. I mean, you should look down through the numbers. You can see it. If you're listening, Jeff Weimer had 2 catches. Rodney Gallagher had 2 catches. Grayson Barnes had 2 catches. A bunch of guys with 1. I mean, nothing really sticks out there. Tyler Jacklich had the fumble late in the game. Defensively, Reed Carrico, Fred Perry, Nick Taylor, and Michael Coates all with 4 tackles apiece. No sacks. West Virginia did not get 1 sack on Jalen Daniels. You know, that is an area that they needed. You know, Jonathan and I talked about in our preview show. You've got to get pressure on Jalen Daniels. They did not do a good job of that tonight. I don't know how many times my gosh, you could have drove a Mack truck through the lanes he had to run through tonight. And he was 15, 20 yards down the field before a defender was even to him. I'm not sure. The defense did not play as good tonight as they had the first 3 games. I will say that. They played good enough in the first half to keep West Virginia in the game, but the second half they fell completely apart. There was a TFL. There was 1, 2, Marshawn Oxley and Asani Redwood each had a TFL. It shows there was only 1 TFL at the bottom, but it looks like 2. So 1 TFL, no sacks, and only 62 tackles. Kansas, on the other hand, you had 71 tackles, 30 and 2 sacks, and 5 TFLs. So the Kansas defense just flat out outplayed West Virginia's defense tonight. And of course, you know, you've got to put some of that on West Virginia's offense not playing well also. But I can't, like, again, I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to seeing the PFF grades for West Virginia because I'm not really looking forward to it because it's probably going to be abysmal, especially on the offensive line. But I just can't. Oliver Straw had a big night. He punted the ball 8 times, 350 yards, had 2 inside the 20. He might be the most valuable player on the team. And the kick return the yards. Look at this. Kansas had 2 kick returns for 137 yards and a touchdown, and 4 punt returns for 30 yards. Special teams was atrocious too. Can't win games that way in the Big 12. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I'll be honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Kansas is maybe they're one of the top teams in the Big 12, but I just don't see it. I don't think their offense is all that great, to be honest with you. But there's your stats. Let me look at Kansas's offensive stats real quick. We talked about Jalen Daniels being 12 of 24, 138 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. LaShawn Williams was their leading rusher, 19 carries, 129 yards to 1 touchdown. He had the long 62-yard touchdown run. Daniels was the second leading rusher, 5 carries, 69 yards. Receiving, Levi Wentz had a catch for 41. Emmanuel Henderson Jr., the Alabama transfer, had 6 catches for 38 yards. And then in addition to Wentz, LaShawn Williams had a touchdown reception, and Bowden Groen had a touchdown reception. And Dean Miller and Blake Harrell each had 7 tackles on the defensive side. Dean Miller also had a sack and 1.5 TFLs. Trey Lathan had a nice, decent game, former Mountaineer, 3 tackles, a sack, and a TFL. So just overall, Kansas's defense showed up tonight. West Virginia's offense did not. And West Virginia's defense struggled in the second half to stop the run. Could not contain Jalen Daniels in the run game. Again, some busted coverages to go along with that. Just ugly night on special team. It was just ugly all the way around. All 3 phases of the game, West Virginia got flat out whooped. Hats off to Kansas. Kansas looked like the tougher team, the more physical team, the team that was most ready to play. Everything. They looked more hard-edged than West Virginia did tonight. They just did. Bottom line. Bottom line. By the way, I want to thank all of you for joining the show tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, please do me a favor, hit that like button. Please. If you're watching on X or Facebook, the West Virginia Sports Chat Facebook page, I asked that once the show's over, please come over to the YouTube channel, check out past shows. Please subscribe to the channel over there as well. And, please share it with your family, friends. And also, please check us out at wvsportschat.com over at the website. We have a lot of written, that's where we put our written content. Myself, Jonathan Martin, several others over there put up some articles. We would appreciate if you support us over there as well. But offensively, man, let's talk about the quarterback position for a minute, and then I'll get to some of your comments. Was this game all on Nico, Mark? You'll know it was not. But, man, there were a couple times there were at least two different times I know of in my head he had time to throw the football. Once he probably needed to throw it away quicker than he did, and another time he had receivers and he's holding it's like when everything starts, when things are not going well for him, it's like he doesn't, I don't know if he's not processing stuff quicker or what. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm obviously not his coach. I'm not in the room with him. I'm not on the field with him. So I don't, but something it's I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not, some games it doesn't seem to be a factor. I guess you got to give some credit to the opposing defense. Maybe they're throwing things at him he's not prepared for. Maybe, I don't know, but he's not getting rid of the ball quick enough, and then at times he doesn't have time to throw it. He's having roll out and throw to his left some. I wish they had utilized a little bit more the rolling it to his left and the short passing game. Right? It seems like when Nico's out of the pocket, he's a better football player. It just does. Not that he's fast, but it gets him away from the rush a little bit, gives him a little bit more time to process things, to go through his reads. When he just stands back there and tries to be a pocket quarterback, he's not effective. And I don't know if that's play calling. I don't know if it's him not doing what he's supposed to do. I don't know the answer to that question. Again, I'm not in the room, but whatever it is, man, they got to fix it. And with this offensive line being struggling the way it is, I was an advocate for Nico being your starting quarterback, but I had confidence he was going to come out tonight and play good, and he did not do that. And if you've got an offensive line that's not giving you the protection you need, and you've got, don't have Ty Edwards or Jaheim White back there for the run game, and Sincere Bowers is not giving you enough apparently because he's not getting a ton of touches, then you need a quarter. We saw what the offense moved down the field when you had Jalen Henderson and Khalil Wilkins in the game. They moved the ball. Maybe it was against Kansas' subs. I don't know if Kansas was subbing at that point in the game. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. They looked better, and it was the same O-line in the game. They moved the football down the field because Jalen Henderson and Khalil Wilkins are much more athletic than Nico. And if Nico's not going to throw the ball any better than he did tonight, let's be honest. Put your athletic quarterback in the game and roll with it, man. I don't know what you got to do something to generate some offense here. And let's hope to goodness Ty Edwards is back next week, because without him, man, I don't know what they're going to do for a running game. I just don't know. They couldn't find one tonight. That's why, to me, I had no issue with Nico starting. I thought he should have started. I thought he earned it last week. But after 3 and outs in a row, man, and you could see that you weren't going to be able to run the football, try one of the other guys. Doesn't mean you can't bring Nico back in the game, but try one of the other guys. I just don't understand it. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. The defense was put in some bad spots, man, but they gave up 34, 35 points, 34, whatever it was. They gave that up. That's taking the kickoff return off the board, obviously. Well, no, there was a pick six too, wasn't there? So take away 14 points. What's that put them at? 28, 24? I don't know. Whatever the number is. I guess theoretically, Jeff, that's fair. Defense, you hold Kansas to 24 points, you should have a shot to win the game. Or 28 points anyway. So, Jeff, I guess that's a fair assessment, man. I do think the defense left a lot of plays out there, though, man. There was there was 2 or 3 really big busted coverages. The long touchdown run, those things have to be cleaned up. There's no doubt about it. But it is fair to say that the offense put them in a bad spot, and obviously special teams too. So that's very fair. But I thought they lost this game on all 3 phases. Primarily the offense, though. I mean, the offense and the special teams really were the 2 primary factors here. Silva Mark WV, thank you for the super chat. He says, convert Henderson to a running back. Maybe we can win a few more games. I say just put him in at quarterback, man. T-Jinx 048 says, Nico is not good enough without a running game, and I think it's ridiculous if Clay Ash gets another carry the rest of the year. See, I had another super chat, too. I want to make sure I get to it. Let's see. Thank you, Daniel. He says, remember, we have to get Justin to 10,000 subs. I appreciate that. If you're watching this on the replay, obviously the thumbs up button will help. And this is for those of you listening on YouTube. The thumbs up will help. There's also a hype button underneath if you're watching on the replay. If you're watching it on your mobile device on the replay, there's a hype button below the download button and the thanks button. If you hit that, it'll help get my content out to more people. And subbing helps as well. If you're watching on X or Facebook, please come over and sub to Couz's Corner on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on podcast, thank you for listening. Please follow me and please give me a 5-star review if you like the show. All that really helps me out. Hell WV in the house. Rich Rod is just drawing a paycheck. I'm not going to go that far, man. It's year 1. You know, they gave Neil Brown 6 daggone years. I'm not giving up on Rich Rod after 4 games. 4 games. Do I agree with everything he's doing? Absolutely not. But you got to give him more than 4 games. Right Cycle Work says he's more concerned with the defense. Not me. I still think the defense is going to be fine. But, Jeff Ruff made a fair point. They had 2 50-yard returns in the first half. You had the 96-yard return touchdown in the second half. That put the defense in a bad spot. You had a pick 6 there. You had the offense continuously going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. None of that helps the defense out. So, this is not on the defense, but I also think it's fair to criticize the defense for their screw-ups too, because they did miss a lot of tackles. They had some busted coverages. There were times they left gaping holes for Jaden Daniels to run through. All of that stuff has to be cleaned up as well. I don't know who are you referring to? Trista DeBerry, who are you referring to? I didn't see your previous comment. Or somebody else's previous comment, maybe. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, congrats to your team, man. You guys look good tonight. I still think Kansas has a shot. I definitely think Kansas is in the top half of the Big 12 for sure. Are they a candidate to win the conference? I'm not ready to go that far just yet, but I think they got a shot to. Just for the fact they have one of the top quarterbacks in the league and what appears to be a pretty solid defense. All right, another super chat. WVU fan 13, thank you, sir, for the 1999 super chat. He says, Couz, with 4 games down, if you had your choice, who is the starting QB and running back for the Utah game? Well, obviously, if Ty Edwards is healthy, I'm putting him as starting running back. Okay. As far as a run, if he's not, I guess you got to go with either Sincere Bowers or Tyler Jackledge. I guess Dior Hubbard doesn't even seem to be a factor for whatever reason. I don't know if he's not picking up the offense. I don't know if he refuses to block. I don't know what's going on. But for whatever reason, he's not even getting much of a shot. So I guess you've got to go with, if Ty Edwards is not healthy, I guess you've got to go either with Sincere Bowers or Tyler Jackledge. I mean, what other choices do you have? Cannon Catcher's still out hurt. James obviously not coming back. Clay Ash is just not getting it done. So I don't know what you do. I'm about ready to convert Orrin Singleton to a running back, honestly, or somebody like that. As far as quarterback goes, I think you've got to roll with Jalen Henderson. He's a senior. He's shown that he can make plays with his legs at least. He can throw the ball a little bit. He was 2 of 4 tonight on throwing the ball. Just you got to call plays for him, at least early in the game. They're easy reads. Don't make it too hard on him. Use his legs a lot. Because if you do that, it's going to open up so much more of your offense and give you so many more options. If the defense has to take a running quarterback into account, man, it opens up so many more opportunities. And I'm not taking shots at Nico at all, but he's not playing consistent. And when you have an O-line that's not blocking well and you have no run game, man, you've got to figure something else out. You've got to try something different. Have to try something different. And I would start Jalen Henderson at quarterback next week. And probably if Ty Edwards is not healthy, I'm going, I guess, with Sincere Bowers at running back. He did show us a couple good things in the second half. Not sure why he didn't play much more, to be honest. Yep, no respect for Nico in the zone read, Jeff. You're absolutely right. They know he's not going to pull it. And there was one time Nico dropped. This is one I meant to mention this earlier. Nico drops back. It's a design. I think it was maybe been a design run because the O-line turns and they actually blocked good. They turn their defense in, give him room on the outside. He pulls back, tucks it, stands there for like a second, which is a long time in football, and then takes off. If he'd have pulled it and took off immediately, he'd had at least some positive yardage. Instead, he got tackled right at the line of scrimmage. And if you're not fast, you don't have time to hesitate. You got to go. Put your foot down and go. It's almost like he don't trust what he's seeing, which, again, can go back to the blocking. Maybe he's a little bit, gun shy, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But it's just the offense as a whole is just not working. It's not working. And Daniel Gigax makes a great point here. He says it all falls on how good the O-line is, and the line play isn't good. And, Daniel, what I would like to know, and again, none of us know the answer to this question. When you've got one player in particular that continuously lets his guy run by him, why will you not try someone else at that position? Are the backups that bad? It's baffling to me that you have someone who continues game in and game out to play poorly and you will not sub. I just don't. Listen, I went after Neil Brown for doing that. I think it's fair to criticize Coach Rod and his staff for doing that. When you have players that don't perform, you have to hold them accountable and get their butts out of the football game. And the fact that there was nobody in there to do that is concerning to me. Either the backups are that bad, or they're seeing something, or I'm seeing something they're not seeing, or vice versa. I don't know, man. It's almost like we're not watching the same game at times. But at the end of the day, improved O-line play would correct a lot of things, but it's obvious we're not going to get that, at least not anytime soon, because the schedule's not getting any easier. We got Utah next week, and I know Utah got beat by Texas Tech today, but I still think Utah's a good football team, especially in the trenches. Utah's going to come to play next week. They're going to be mad. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be ready to take this week's game out on West Virginia. West Virginia would have been better off had Utah won today. But again, they got a tough spot to be in with a pissed off Utah team and a pissed off Kyle Whittingham coming into Morgantown next weekend. They better have their chin straps buttoned up tight because it's going to be a physical game. And if that O-line don't get their crap together, man, it's going to be a long, long year. See. Yep. I don't think Fox is ready to go, Trist. I really don't. I think he proved last week. I don't think he's quite ready to be a P4 quarterback right now. He's a true freshman. The game's probably still moving too fast for him. Give him some more time. Let him grow in the program and grow in the system. And maybe next year, the year after, he'll be ready to play. But right now, I think it's just too early. Cole Livingood says, I just looked, pending the rest of tonight's action. Oliver Straw should move into at least the top 3 for total punts. That's not good, Cole. That's not a good stat to have, man. Not a good stat to have. All right. Silva Mark, thank you for another super chat. You've been generous tonight, brother. He says, I know O-line looks bad, but were they recruited for a running QB, not a pocket QB? And that's a fair question. I don't Nico, has Nico slower to y'all, or is it just me? I don't remember him being that slow last year. Is it, you think it's because he's hesitant in the new system and he's not comfortable, or is he literally slower? I don't know. Or maybe the O line that was at West Virginia last year just made him look better than he actually was. I don't know. I can't figure it out. MH5 says, sat next to some WVU fans at the game. Good people. Shout out to the fans that made the trek. Rock chalk. Good luck the rest of the year. Could be worse. Just look at Okie State. Yeah, I guess you're right. At least we did beat Pitt, right? We've got that to hold over their head the rest of the year, at least, Just take your lumps with Fox or Wilkins for the future. Nico Marchiol is not the answer, and Henderson would be better off playing running back. Maybe. I don't know. And a lot of people saying Henderson don't throw well. I think that might be why. I think Nico's the better thrower of the group. But like I said earlier, and like me and Jonathan and I were texting back and forth, he's not super accurate with the ball either. So if you have a quarterback who's an average passer at this point, but a bad runner with a bad O-line, or you've got a quarterback who's a below average passer, but a good runner what are you taking? I mean, it ain't like Nico being a better thrower helped us any tonight. Couldn't get the ball down the field. Shaq in the house, a paid VIP member here on the channel, says Nico may be the better passer, but it doesn't matter when your offensive line can't block. You need somebody that's got some wheels and can run. Bingo. Jersey Ear in the house. Bowers didn't play because he was involved in the targeting play. That's right. I bet he got his bell rung. Great point. Thank you for reminding me of that, Jersey Ear. I had forgotten about that play. Yep, they did eject him. And I hope Bowers is okay. It might just be one more injury to pile on to West Virginia's list. And that's another reason I hate to get on here and be so bash this team because they got guys falling like flies out there with injuries. I kind of feel bad for him in that regard. Jacob Yoho says, fire the O-line coach. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. So far, I have not been super happy. It does not. Now, I know they're playing tougher competition, so we have to take that into account, but it does not look to me like our O-line is improving much. It really don't. Now, I said the same thing about Matt Moore at one time, too, I will admit. And that O-line, he ended up having a good O-line 2 or 3 years down the road because they were playing with freshmen. This O-line's got 3 seniors on it. Now, they haven't played together. I get it. And they're new in the system, and they're new playing together. But, man, you think we'd see some improvement, right? At some point, and guys not missing assignments, having guys running free to the quarterback 2-3 times in a row. What's up with that? Nico went from hero to zero. Yep, you got that right. Yeah, I don't know if, and I put this on X earlier with the O-line. I don't know if Rich Rod and his staff missed on most of these guys out of the portal on the O-line, or if they missed on the hire of Jack Bicknell as O-line coach, or both. I don't know. I think that's one area. I think hiring the wrong position coach at that spot can tank your career, and I hope that's not the case. He has a lot of experience, and I was very positive when Jack Bicknell got hired. I thought it was a good hire, but right now it's not looking so hot. But again, it's only 4 games in. I'm not ready to fire coaches yet. Like I said, they gave Neil Brown 6 years. I'm not ready to give up after 4 games. Need to win against Utah next week. Well, Brendan, you got any miracles on you? I hate to be that guy, but man, 0 changes, Jeff. Exactly. It makes no sense, man. Why in the world do you keep doing this? I criticize Neil Brown for that, for not making changes when guys screw up multiple times. It's only fair to criticize Coach Rod. Again, not giving up on the guy and just pointing out things that I see that as a fan and as somebody who does commentary, I think needs to be questioned, I guess, for lack of a better term. And if your backup O linemen are that bad, we are absolutely cooked. They're cooked because we're going to be doing this again next year, unfortunately. Trista says they need to come out swinging next week with Fox. He needs to start the game, not come in at a crappy time. And that maybe, Trista, but I'm just not ready to insert a true freshman. How often do you see a true freshman playing quarterback and starting at a Power 4 school? It's extremely, extremely rare. Extremely rare. Jalen Daniels did it, but Jalen Daniels is an elite. I think had it not been for his injuries, I think he'd be an elite quarterback. I really do. I think his injuries have held him back some, but he did start as a freshman. But he went through some growing pains too. But Kansas was in a different place than West Virginia is. TJinx048 says, when we got close to the end zone in the first half, if Nico would have kept it one of the plays, he walks in standing up, but instead he hands it off for no gain. Yeah, and I don't remember that play, TJinx, but is he reading things right in the run in the RPO game? I don't know. But all I know is what I saw with my eyes tonight, and again, it was in garbage time. I get it. But the offense moved better when we had Khalil Wilkins and Jalen Henderson in the football game because we had a quarterback that could absolutely just when the play broke down, they could just outrun people. Nico can't do that. And plays are breaking down a lot, whether it be because of him or his O-line or his running back, whatever. Plays are breaking down a lot. When you got a quarterback that can run away from that stuff or get you out of it with their legs, it solves a lot of problems, or at least puts Band-Aids on a lot of problems. Pretty close until third quarter between Tech and Utah. I saw that. WVU Fan 13 says Utah is not a pushover. We will be 20-point underdogs at home. I don't think it'll be. I don't know. It might be. It will be interesting to see what that line is, WVU Fan 13. It'll be a pissed off WVU too. Jeff, that's a great point, man. They will be, and they're going to come into their house in front of their fans. Hopefully it'll be a good crowd. I'm worried that a lot of crowd won't show up now next week. But that's a great point. You'll have two pissed off football teams playing next week. You're absolutely right. Daniel says they didn't rotate the O-line tonight or versus Ohio, and I don't know how good the second string is. That's the thing. How they must be terrible. The only logical explanation I can think of, and I don't necessarily agree with it, is that they're wanting to get, because of all of these linemen are new, not only in your system, but playing together. They're trying to get them as many snaps as possible as you go through the season. But man, I mean, this is game one of the Big 12 season, and you just lost 41-10. Not a good start to the Big 12 season. I mean, I hate to be, Mr. Negativity here, but the over-under in Vegas was 5.5 wins. The football team I saw play tonight's not winning 5 football games. Sorry. They better get some stuff corrected quick. Shaq says, who's a VIP channel member, says, this week I thought Coach Rod waited too long to change quarterbacks, and last week I thought he did it when it didn't need done. Fair criticism, man. Absolutely fair, and I'm kind of leaning to agreeing with you. Yep. Hip injury for Edwards tonight. Teresa says someone has to start, not Nico. At this point, and again, it's not 100% his fault, but it's just like I've said before, it's almost, sometimes it feels like you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole with him at times. WVU Fan 13 says, yes, he is much slower. He's got concrete feet, somebody else said. Too much junk in his trunk, says Jeff Ruff. Straw's punt stats. Danny Wiggett says the Sickos community guys will love Straw's punt stats. Hell, what WV says Henderson needs more playing time. right, let me see. Oh, I got some super chats I've missed here, I believe. Civil Mark WV says, do your research. Buy stock in what alcohol is consumed in WV. Cash out at the end of football season. Pro tip. I love that comment, brother. That's funny. Oh, man. I love how you're finding some brevity in this situation here. I think that's is that the right word? I'm trying to use big words and don't know what they mean. You're bringing some lightheartedness to the situation here. I guess will be the best way to put it. There's another. I think I had another super chat that I missed. Let me find it here. Did anyone see the Kansas coach talking shit to Nico? I don't like that. Was it a coach or was it a staffer? We don't know. Either way, it's not appropriate. WV Homer McNasty. I like this comment. He's bringing some optimism to the table. He says, don't overreact, people. O-line needs work or good portal cycle. All good. We need some optimism. I thought I saw it. Here's another super chat. Here we go. WVU Fan 13, thank you for the super chat, my man. He says, there is no other program in the country that says and wants to play 5 QBs. That is not a case of too much talent. That is not enough talent combined in one QB. The team goes as the QB goes. And that is a great comment. And I think I touched on that in a previous video a few weeks ago. And I kind of looked at both sides and said, hey, it's either a great thing or a bad thing. But I said, we're all kind of painting it as a good thing, but we have to consider it could be a bad thing. Because does it mean he doesn't have, if you don't have one quarterback separating, do you have 5 average quarterbacks? Or do you have 5 great quarterbacks? You know what I mean? And it looks like for now, West Virginia has 5 average quarterbacks. I think you have 2 quarterbacks, maybe 3, who can run the ball really well, but probably not ready to throw it all that great yet. You probably have 2 of those who aren't really even ready to run the offense yet, in Fox and maybe Wilkins, who are both, one's a freshman, one's a redshirt freshman. And then I think you got one in Nico who can throw it a little better, but can't do anything with his legs. He can run the offense and maybe throw it. So I guess Nico can do 2 of the 3, but he's not even doing one of those consistently. So I just think at the end of the day, you've tried A, now you got to try B, C, or D. And I don't know what's going on with Max Brown, why we haven't seen Max Brown. Maybe he's still injured. I'm not sure. But I wouldn't even mind seeing him throw him in there. Yep, O-line's even thinner now, John Kelly. You're absolutely right. The center got rolled up on. Yep, no excuse for senior O-lineman to get whipped like they do. And, I said tonight, and I hadn't quit, West Virginia has got guys on their O-line who other Power 4 programs moved to defensive line for a reason. And I guess West Virginia staff thought they could turn them back into a good O-lineman. So far, it's been a complete failure. John says the game was over and I didn't even see that. I was having issues with my television. And by the time I got it going again, I looked and it was 27-3. And I was like, what in the world? How'd they score already? I had just turned the TV back on. I thought last time I saw it was during halftime. Shaq says I'm using text to talk, so if it sounds like I'm drunk, I'm not. LOL. Nah, man, it doesn't at all. Thank you very much. But thanks for clarifying. Now we'll know if we see something come through that looks really weird, we'll know. Remember, if you guys want me to see your comment, make sure I see your comment. Be sure to leave a super chat. Hit the $ near the chat box. It highlights your comment, and I'll be sure to get to it. Otherwise, I'm getting to as many as I can, and obviously VIP members get first priority. Why is that not sorry about that. There we go. I was trying to get that off screen, WV fan. All right. See, what else have we said? We looked at stats. The running back situation. Let's talk about that a minute. Without Ty Edwards, Clay Ash, love the young man, tough as nails. He's undersized. He plays above his, he's having to punch above his weight class. I love his toughness, his grit, his work ethic. But he's not ready to be he's not ready to be an RB1 right now. Maybe at some point in the future he can be. I just personally don't think he is. I don't think he's explosive enough. Especially when you don't have – I think Clay Ash is the type of back that I think if he's got a good hole to run through, he can make one cut and go. But he doesn't have the wiggle or the speed to make a bunch of guys miss, and he doesn't quite have the power of like a Ty Edwards to break tackles at the line of scrimmage. So I just don't – my personal opinion is I think he's in there because he's dependable. He knows how to run the offense. He's probably really smart, and he's a good blocker. My personal opinion is that's why he's in the game. But, I mean, we saw him. He got a lot less carries as the game went on. Yeah, I don't understand what the deal is with Dior Hubbard either. Only thing I can think of, Raven, is Dior Hubbard. She's asking about Dior Hubbard, why he's not getting a lot of carries. Maybe he doesn't know the offense. This is a new offense for all these guys. Maybe they're having a hard time learning it. It's supposed to be a much easier offense to learn than what Neil Brown runs, but I guess that's to the, in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. But so I don't know what it is. Jeff Ruff wants to know if Ty Edwards got hurt breakdancing with R in the locker room. No, I think, in all honesty, I didn't know this because I was at the game and didn't see it. Because, a lot of times when you're at games, you don't see the players, go into the tent and stuff like they show on TV. Jonathan told me that he actually saw Dior Hubbard, or not Dior Hubbard, but Ty Edwards go into the medical tent at some point in that game last week. I didn't see that. And then he come back in and continued the game. So he may have got hurt in that pit game. And he even said in his post-game presser that he was banged up during the game. So I actually forgot to do something, y'all. I get going on these shows and I forget to pay my bills. I've got to do a ad read real quick. So if y'all bear with me for a couple minutes, I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't let one bad leg haunt your parlay. Parlays turn into payouts, and now even near misses won't haunt your bet. The NFL season is here, and college football is now in full swing, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is rewriting the rules with Ghost Leg, a new game-changing promotion that turns close calls into cold, hard cash. Best of all, it's available to all DraftKings customers. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Couz, that's code Couz, C-O-U-Z, to unlock Ghost Leg, the promotion that makes one bad leg disappear and pays you out in real cash. Ghost your losses. Get your payout in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Opt in for single-use token. Minimum 3+ legs and minus 500 odds per leg. Max bet varies. If only one leg of the bet loses, bet will settle as if only the winning legs were placed and pays out in cash based on odds when the bet was placed. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. All right. Thank you for letting me get through the housekeeping and pay the bills there. And sorry to DraftKings for waiting so late in the show to do it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back to the comments here. I was trying to think what else we need to talk about. I get on these post-game shows and I don't really have a outline or nothing. I just got on here and talk, y'all. But the running back situation, man, I just don't know. I mean, we got to pray, hope and pray that Ty Edwards is back next week because he's really our. I mean, without him, we don't win the pit game, and would we win another game this year without him? I don't know. I mean, look at the schedule. UCF doesn't look like that bad of a team. I don't think they're a great team, but they don't look like that bad of a team. TCU, they look pretty darn good. Utah, despite what happened today, I still think they're at least a bowl team, if not better. Arizona State, Colorado, Texas Tech, BYU. What wins do you see on the schedule coming up? I mean, maybe there's some improvement going on this team that we don't see, but I'm not seeing it. I thought we saw it last week at Pitt or against Pitt, but man, it's like they regressed again. Civil Mark says, don't have a gambling problem. Do you have anything for a super chat program? Oh, man. You got me cracking up tonight, brother. And I'm not going to get you. I don't think there's a cure for that, man. You just got to roll with it. UNC is awful. UCF just beat a bad team. That's true too, Daniel. UNC is not good. I would like to see West Virginia and UNC play. Who would win that game? Hey, in all honesty, I do want to say this though, and I said something along this line. I'm actually not as mad about this game as I was the Ohio game. I didn't see 41-10 coming, but I saw a loss coming, so I was kind of expecting it. But here's why. 80 new players, guys. 80. I saw fans on social media saying that there's no excuses anymore. Well, look what Signetti did. Look what Dillingham did. All these other examples. First off, Dillingham did it in year 2. His first year, he won 3 games. Okay? People forget that. Last year was not Dillingham's first year. It was his second year. Number 2, Signetti played a cupcake schedule and brought 12 of his guys from James Madison with him who knew the system. Okay? And plus, he didn't have 80 new guys. He had about 40. Okay? Huge difference. This is the most players any team has ever replaced in one offseason. Dion replaced over 50, and everybody said there's no way the guy can win. And he went out and he won what, 4 games? With 50-some new players. He won 4 games his first year. Now, he won 9 in year 2. Where Dillingham won what, 11 in year 2? But replacing 80 players is not – I don't think Rich Rod came in and expected all these – think about the players that hit the portal. Trey Lathan, who's having a career year at Kansas right now. Josiah Trotter, who's starting at Missouri, an SEC school. C.J. Donaldson, at least running back 2 at Ohio State, if not a starter. Hudson Clement, who's – I don't know. Not sure if that was a huge loss or not. You lost 3 really good O-linemen in Johnny Williams, Tomas Remack, and Kyle Altuner. Plus, you lost Sully Weedman, who could have potentially been in the 2 deep on your O-line at least. And I think that's the biggest difference right there. All those O-linemen you lost. Johnny Williams, I think, is starting at Missouri right now as an O-lineman, as a tackle. Tomas Remack could have been your left guard or your right guard. Kyle Altuner could have potentially been your center or your guard, one of your guards. They're both starting at Virginia Tech. Now, they're not playing very good, but now there's West Virginia's offensive line, right? And at least it would have been guys who were all familiar with each other and had chemistry together. And I think that matters. So, anyway, now with what's going on at Virginia Tech, is it possible that, Remack, Weedman, and or Altuner come back? I don't see it happening, but it's possible, I guess. Only way Remack would be able to do it, though, is if he sits out the rest of the year, which I don't see him doing. Because he was, I think he's a senior this year. And he doesn't have a red shirt available. He hasn't redshirted. So he'll be using up all 4 years of eligibility this year if he plays one more game. Perhaps the missed tackles are because they're out there too long, and that's a fair statement, John. Definitely. For sure. But yeah, my point to what I was talking about a minute ago, man, you can't, it's almost like year 0 here. They gave Neil Brown a year 0. Why does Rich Rod not deserve a year 0? Come on. Now, if we're going through if we're having the same conversation this time next year, I'll probably have a different opinion. But like I said, I think there's like 60 seniors on his team or some crazy number. So don't be surprised if we are having it again next year. You can't replace 60 guys, 60 plus guys 2 years in a row, I don't think. Maybe you can in today's era. I don't know. But I doubt it. I really doubt it. Listen, for those of you who don't know, I do have a new feature I'm doing on the show where you can call in and leave a voice message for me, and I will read it on a show. I will read the best ones on a show. If you want to call and vent your frustrations about this game, about this team, if you want to ask me a question, call the number on your screen. If you're listening on podcast, you can call the number I'm about to give you in a minute, leave your voicemails, and I will pick the best ones out and read them on a show or play them on a show and then react to them. But the number you need to call is 304-712-9347. Again, 304-712-9347. Leave your name and where you're from. That way we have an idea where you're calling from. And again, I'll pick the best ones out and react to them on a show. That's a way. It's a new way for me to interact with you, my audience. I really enjoy doing. I did one show last week. It was a fun show to do. I really appreciated it. So if you want to do that, then again, it's a way for you to vent, get your frustrations out, ask me a question, my opinion about something, and I'll do my best to answer and or address your comment. Also, don't forget wvsportschat.com, where you find written content from myself and others. Don't forget to check out the social media pages of WV Sports Chat. Don't forget Couz's Corner on podcast, on YouTube. Support our work everywhere we go, everything we do, please. Don't forget, if you're on X, if you're on Facebook, come over to YouTube afterwards and subscribe. I'm getting really, really close to 10,000 subscribers. I plan on doing something special for my 10,000, celebration show. I just don't know what that is yet. May even do a raffle or a giveaway of some kind. I just got to decide what I want to raffle and give away. But that being said, I don't really have a lot else to say about this game. It was ugly. It was bad. It was embarrassing. But I'm sure the coaching staff would all agree with that. So it's not anything new. I really appreciate you guys tuning into the show tonight. And I appreciate all your support and everything you do. Thanks to my sponsors, DraftKings, thanks to Appalachia Digital, folks who designed the website over at WV Sports Chat. They can design you a site or help you level up your current site at appalachiadigital.com/Couz. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Please hit the like button on the way out. Have a good night, or if you're watching on the replay, a good day. God bless. Q Country Roads. Even though we lost, I will always Q Country Roads, baby.